Okay, hi, it's Bud here. I'm taking a break from some yard work, and I wanted to post a picture. I found a picture that is every bit, it's 60 years old. In fact, I think I took the picture, but I don't recall seeing it in the past 60 years. I just stumbled on it. Um, I was 8 years old when I took the picture. It was at a house in Mystic Islands that we bought on Radio Road. I believe it was the first day that we saw the house. Didn't own it yet, and the there's a picture of a little speedboat in I have a picture of a speedboat tied up in the back of what would soon be our house. It belonged to the boy next door. He was about 10 years older than me, I guess, so he was 18, probably about 18. His name was Billy Scholes. Sometimes they call him Young Billy versus his dad, which was Old Billy. So I guess he was Billy Jr. But he took me for a boat ride. This wasn't my first boat ride. The first boat ride was in Chestnut Neck Boat Yard on a Garvey. I'll tell that story another time. But this was probably the second boat ride I was ever on. And this was by far the fastest boat I was on for the next 15 years. So the boat was a skiff about 15 feet long. The bow was enclosed, so it was very sporty looking. He had a 15 horsepower motor on it, I remember. And he took me for a ride down the lagoon. And at the end of the lagoon was the marshland, and they had these little channels throughout the marshland. I don't know whether they were drainage ditches or something, but they weren't very wide. They were just a little bit wider than the boat. And he took me through there, flying through there. I mean, the boat was so fast. Second boat ride I was on. The first one was slow, so this was really I think I recall that it seemed like there were only inches between the side of the boat and the marshland that we were going through. But he knew his way, and I never forgot that boat ride. That would be the fastest boat I was on for the next 15 years. 15 years later, I would buy a California ski boat, and that went 55 miles an hour. That was scary fast. But for 15 years, this boat held the distinction of being the fastest boat I was on. I'm going to hold a picture up. Let's see, I might have to try to peek around to make sure I can get you a good visual. Would be the boat in the foreground. And it's tied up to what would be our backyard. They would put a dock in there before we actually bought the house where that boat is tied up. And if you look at the house in the background behind the fellow that's standing there, that house at the time belonged to Dr. Ivory. They were from New York. He had two boys and a girl. The girl was she was probably about 18. The boy was about 18. And let me see. And then Peter was more my age. Peter and I were friends for years until they sold the house. After that, Larry Higgins bought the house, and he became good friends of our family. My mom and best friends with my mom and dad. And his brothers would come down, and dad came down once or twice, mother came down, and nieces and nephews, and I got to meet a lot of the family. We became good friends. We fished, partied together, and hung out for years after that, years and years. So anyhow, this was I actually took this picture. Again, it was the first time I've seen it in 60 years. I know I took the picture because it's the same format as my camera and some other pictures from that era. But I just thought I'd share that. I have someone in particular I wanted to share it with. But this was the easiest way to do it. So, okay. So, back to work.